Crafties, we are jumping into chapter 16 and 17 of Letters from Christopher. If you're new here, welcome. We have a lot of new subscribers. I'm Jennifer. I'm a former journalist, but for the past 6 years, I've been a huge crafter. I do a lot of laser engraving. I made this. I do customs just to kind of do a plug for myself. If you have your own channel, reach out to me. I can make you little magnets or signs, things like that. I do a ton of stuff. If you want to search my work, you can search my website, simplysouthern.crafts.com. But I created this channel because I was trying to actually make a demo for a freelance job, and just a lot of people took interest in some of the cases I was talking about that I covered. So here we go. One of them, the Christopher Watts case. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to read the book word for word. I respect copyright law. Please take a look at the description of my channel. I'm going to dish the truth out, and sometimes you might not like it, but it is what it is. And with that said, no one deserves to suffer the way this family has suffered. Anyway, chapter 16. This one is about Chris's first real interview. So we're going to take a listen at that. He says he felt no remorse.
I will not say do not weep, for not all tears are an evil. J.R.R. Tolkien. He felt a lot of anger, something he says he never felt before, but that was the only emotion he felt. He said he did not feel remorse. Originally, when talking to the CBI and Frederick police, he said in his confession that he killed Shanann in a blind rage. Christopher now says there was no rage. He was angry with Shanann over her not allowing him to see his family. When talking to the authorities, even when talking about his children, he felt nothing for them. He says it did not register with him that his family was gone. It's not normal that a person never felt anger in his life, but Christopher says until that morning, he never felt the emotion of anger. While growing up, he said he never got into fights and never was in any kind of trouble. Christopher shows signs of alexithymia, the inability to express emotions or to understand others' emotions. On August 14th, around 7 p.m., the police conducted their first official interview with Christopher. Sometimes, Christopher's answers were not really coherent. Yet this is the actual interview. This is the preamble for a consensual recording at the police station with Christopher Watts. Time is 7:08 p.m., Thursday, August 14th, 2018. The agent introduced himself. Christopher said hello and introduced himself. Agent: Hey, good to meet you. Thanks for coming in. I'm from the FBI. CW: Okay. A:
So we're not going to listen to the entire interview, but I do have clips on other videos that you can watch. In this video, we're just doing a review of Cherlyn Cadle's book. We know that it took 6 hours for Chris to finally confess. In fact, the bizarre part of this case is an entire day went by. That first day, Chris wasn't really grilled. It was more of a, we're trying to find your wife, which is interesting because every other case out there, they drill down immediately on the husband. But with this, it's almost like they gave him the benefit of a doubt. And I feel like you remember Nate saying he's acting really weird.
He never backs his truck into the driveway.
That's what her friend Christina was saying.
Diesel.
She's like, he never backs his truck up. My mom said it too. She's like, he carries his stuff out in the house. He doesn't back his truck up.
Well, I have him on camera doing that when he does it. Because when he was parking his truck over here, the other thing was odd is while she was gone, he kept parking his truck and her car over here. And I used to see him walk out of his house right here.
He took the car out of the garage?
Oh, the car was parked over there for a long time. Like a couple days.
This was past weekend?
No.
It was when she was gone for the 6 weeks.
Oh.
But I I thought it was kind of odd that he never parked in front of here or right here. He said someone broke into his truck and he parked over here. I have no idea. Hey, he's acting so suspicious. He's normally, you can ask them, he's normally quiet, real subdued. He's over here telling you 3 times what he took out, what he did, what he did. He's very, he never talks. So the fact that he's over here blabbing his mouth makes me kind of suspicious.
Yeah, but I mean, put yourself in his situation.
Oh, I agree.
You know, anyone's gonna be nervous. You don't know what to do.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying the way he told you 3 times what he brought with him, why is he telling you exactly what he brought with him instead of saying, well, they didn't see anybody out here, he didn't see anybody doing anything? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Why is he so worried about you knowing what he's carrying out? That's all.
If the police would have listened to that maybe a little sooner, I feel like the bodies could have been recovered, but they also didn't want to rush to judgment. So I'm not trying to critique them. I would never know what it's like to be in their position, and I commend them for all their hard work. A lot of people were traumatized by this case, but it feels like it took a minute to get Chris to finally come clean. He actually went home that first night, August 13th, and had a spooky experience where he was laying in bed, fell asleep. How the hell can you fall asleep when your family's missing? I think 90% of people would be out there looking all night long for their family, right? Like, if that were me, I'd have family fly in and stay at my house and wait for my spouse and kids to come home, and then I would go out searching for them, or vice versa. It just didn't make sense to me. I don't think it made sense to a lot of people. But so Chris goes home, he falls asleep somehow that night, wakes up, and every single light is on in the house. And he's creeped out because he had a dream, like a premonition about this happening. So he kept like trying to wake himself up, thinking it was this dream. And it was his reality. It was his reality that he was planning. So the next part of the chapter 17, I'm going to put 15, 16, and 17 together because they're kind of short. And we talk about the polygraph test that Christopher totally bombed. And unfortunately, he took it the next day instead of the day everything happened. But let's have a listen to what he talks about with Cherlyn in the book.
They arrived at his house at 6 a.m. on August 15th. They conducted a thorough search of the Watts home. It was noticed there was a sheet in the kitchen garbage can. Why would Christopher, if he had been planning this, be so careless as to leave a sheet in the kitchen trash? It's either he wanted to be caught, or he had something major going on in his thought process. They noticed there was just one fitted sheet and one pillowcase. The pillowcase had some sort of residue on it that looked like glitter. At 11 a.m. on August 15th, Christopher arrived at the Frederick Police Department. The plan was to do a polygraph test, which Christopher had already agreed to. The door to the interview room automatically locks from the inside, but there was a key inserted into the lock that could be turned to open the door. They explained to Christopher the door was shut for privacy, but he was not under arrest and could leave at any time. He said he understood. The agent was not wearing a gun, badge, or handcuffs, magazines, or any other police insignia during the polygraph and interview. CBI's polygraph procedures were explained to Christopher. He was read his Miranda rights and explained to him that he did not have to talk to the agent. He signed the advisement of rights, stated he understood his rights, and wished to continue with the interview and polygraph.
So one thing we don't see on the video of the interrogation is the pre-test questions for the polygraph that Tammy Lee did. Those questions are Before 2018, did you ever lose your temper with someone you cared about? In 2018, did you ever say anything out of anger to a loved one? Before 2018, have you ever wanted to hurt someone or get even with them? Were you born in 1985? Are you sitting down? Do you live in Colorado? And then they move on to the relevant questions. Regarding Shanann's disappearance, do you intend to answer all of the questions truthfully? Did you physically cause Shanann's disappearance? Are you lying about the last time you saw Shanann? Do you know where Shanann is now? Those were the questions asked. I wish just one more question was asked. Were you, or do you know of anyone else who may be involved with Shanann's disappearance? If just that extra question was asked, I think a lot of us wouldn't be so interested in this case. Don't you think? Let me know in the comments section what you think about that. Your chapter is really about text messages between Christopher and Shanann's friends and Shanann and her friends. There's a lot of text communication in this case that shows us what was really put on Facebook was not necessarily how things were at home. And I think we all know that's how social media can work sometimes. You put the best out there. You're not going to say, hey, I'm frustrated with my husband, because it makes you look bad, right? So this chapter covers that. I also want to throw this out there. The more I look into this case, the more I realize there are entire pages and YouTube content dedicated to call Shanann out on lies or things that she's done wrong. And I get no one's perfect, but we don't need to nitpick. So if you're new to this case, I really suggest that you do go on some of the Reddit threads, take a look around. There was a lot going on in this relationship stirring the pot. Yes, Chris is a POS, but you can kind of see where things were building and building and building, and these two were just not right for each other. You can kind of even notice in the videos how awkward he is, and they just didn't fit together as a couple. So we're going to listen to some of the text messages where Shanann is talking to her friends and reaching out for some advice.
We'll get through this. Shanann replied, fuck him. I am nowhere near perfect, but I love unconditionally. I give my all. I do so much as a mom and wife. More than 90% of women out there. This fucking sucks so bad because I do love him and his fucking flaws. Friend encourages Shanann, and Shanann replied, this was a total slap in the face, stab in the heart. I can't afford 3 kids alone in Colorado. Both friends encouraged Shanann, and she told them both she loved them. They started talking about friend and her husband moving into the house with Shanann. Shanann said the house was in Christopher's name. They discussed the courts would make them sell it before he would just get it. They encouraged Shanann further. I don't know, emoji. Shanann said that when she asked him for a hug and to hold her tonight for a minute, he said he couldn't right now. Shanann said he's not there right now. Shanann sends a screenshot of what appears to be her texting Christopher. Today, 6:09 a.m. Do you want to find out together with me tonight on the baby's gender? Christopher replied, yes. And Shanann loved his reply with a heart emoji. Shanann replied, please take 5 minutes today to tell me how you are feeling. I love you, Christopher, more than you know. Shanann texted that she offered it to him this morning and told her friends, I need us to work. And if he's wanting to know with me, I'm willing to wait. Can you?
So they're referring to the gender of the third baby. They were supposed to have a gender reveal party. I believe it was Tuesday, so it would have been August 14th. But she canceled the party. Actually, never mind. It was on the weekend. They canceled the party because Christopher was just acting weird and she didn't want to have a bunch of friends there and for him to be like, oh, especially if it was a girl, right? If it was a girl, then he definitely would have been like, just weird. We all know he was weird on the Oops, I Did It Again video. So that is it for chapter 17, 16, 15. 14 is going to be about Nicole Kessinger. If you feel like you are kind of frustrated with this case and just want to do something to help and you feel bad for Shanann's family, her family was a big supporter of the Lupus Foundation, so you could go to their website and donate there. Also, the family was taking donations for St. Jude Hospital. I know what it's like to cover a case and feel like I want to do something to help. So those are two organizations you could donate to. My hope is with our channel here, if we get big, I am planning to maybe do some crafts and we can raffle them off and then donate to certain organizations based on whatever case we're covering at that time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comments section, and we'll see you for chapter 14.